Okay, Kiers, we left it late today against Hereford Pegasus. It didn't look like we were going to get all 3 points, but we dug in. A little bit of quality from Ryan Bath gave us the vital 3 points we needed. Let's unpack that. What did you make of it?
First of all, set the scene that we've lost Jenks after 10 minutes to an injury. Callum and Brandon both available today. Then you've lost Coops after an hour, so 2 centre-halves have gone. We have to push Nath back into centre-half. And Smeds gets sent off for something off the ball, so we're down to 10 men. It is a mad game, and one that I was more than happy with the point. First half display, really, really good. Created loads, deservedly scored 2 goals, but uncharacteristically conceded 2 sloppy goals for us. And the boys knew it, but overall, the quality of football was really good, and I was really pleased. So to try and go back out and pick up where we left off. And we never really quite hit the heights, although I'd say that we didn't have much possession. I still fancied us to create more chances, and we did. Obviously, the circumstances would allow Pegasus to have more possession, their possession-based team on the 4G. And that pretty much was the story. They kept the ball quite well, didn't really ever threaten, but I felt like it was always going towards a draw. You know, there was not really real clear-cut chances in the game, but from every set play and long throw, we looked really dangerous, and that's how we got the late winner. Baffy off the bench, delighted for him. Such a huge part of the team, massive in the changing room, huge character around the club, great attitude towards everyone, and he's delighted that he come on and scored that when you've seen what it meant to him after, and he'll go home buzzing tonight, and it'll be a big game for him next week because he'll be starting in the Vaz. Biggest game in the club's history, and that's going to do in the world of good going into that. But I think what you've seen here the last 2 weeks is character. At our level, it's hugely important. Team spirit, the changing rooms is immense. Everyone's looking after each other. Everyone's going through the mud for each other, going to war for each other, and that epitomises everything that we're about, really. To do that twice in 2 weeks, I don't think you can call that lucky. I think it's just perseverance, scoring late on, and fitness levels, trained really well Thursday night to get here in good shape, and that's, like I said, with a depleted squad as well. So delighted with that. Last season we draw that or lose, no questions asked, same as last week, as you said. So I think the options that we've got, and keep plugging away, do 10 men for half an hour or whatever it was, and then to go and win the game, a real moment of quality from Baffy. Super ecstatic with that. The changing room and the scenes walking off there, and all the fans cheering us. It was really, really nice, and really proud of the boys today. Super proud.
You touched on the red card. When Hereford Lads Club went down to 10 and even 9 men, they lost their heads and it cost them the game. Today we got close to that. Was it discipline that kept us in it and gave us the 3 points? Yeah,
I think they were disappointed with the decision. I think it was a little bit of lashing out. And Smeds is a young lad. He's been superb since he's come into it. He's obviously disappointed and gutted that he let the lads down a little bit, but he's been so good for us. And when you're young, I know exactly what it's like. Sometimes that bit of that flash of fire comes in you, and you do something stupid. But you got away with it today, so no need to touch on it too much. But I thought, even with 10 men, we looked the more likely to go on and score. I think we, from set plays especially, we're so good. We work on them so often, and I thought defensively then in the second half, I think Jeps didn't really have a lot to do. Slowed things down, managed the game. We were obviously happy for the point at the time, and then we've managed to nick one, a little snatch and grab at the end. So the 10 men didn't really influence the game too much, but obviously disappointed to lose Smeds for 2 or 3 games now, whatever it will be, because he's been hugely important to us.
You took Nickel off at 2-2. He's our top goal scorer on the pitch at the moment. Without Callum today. Talk me through why you took Nickel off. Were you just settling for the point at that point?
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously we've lost centre mid through Smeds going off. So had to bring Chrissy on. It's his first appearance in probably 8-9 weeks, and he's not fully fit. And we've just brought Baffy on, so he then went and occupied the central position on his own, and just to really settle for the point, and I was more than happy for that. But when you make good substitutions, and Baffy comes on and scores the winner, that's happened a couple of times now over the season. I'm delighted with that from a personal point of view. But those decisions aren't hard. Nickel worked really, really hard, and with 10 men, he's also very isolated, so he probably ran out of steam a little bit towards the end. But he'll have no problems with that. He knows exactly what it is to be part of a team. I've had him a long time at Melksham. He's come back and he's been superb, absolutely ruthless last week. Maybe could have got a couple today, but that doesn't happen every single week. And to do that late on without Callum and without Neeks on the pitch just shows, like I said to you, we've got loads of options in attacking areas now. I thought Mally coming on early gave us a nice outlet, but I think the whole day today as an individual probably was about Dan Demkiff. I think he's probably playing his best football for a long time. We haven't had him for 3 or 4 weeks through illness, which is obviously not ideal when he was in such good form. But he's come back today. He's obviously been looking after himself a little bit. Trained Thursday, and today he was absolutely outstanding, man of the match by a mile. So dangerous. That's not to take credit away from any of the boys. I could have probably put Leon in pity alongside him today, but just for his sheer attacking quality and perseverance and work rate, he was absolutely superb today. And he looked like he really enjoyed it as well, so I'm really happy with that.
Looking forward to next Saturday. Biggest game of the season, arguably for the club for a long time, against Deal in the FA Vars. Today must be a bit of a nightmare for you going into that game with lots of injuries being picked up. Could you talk us through some of the changes that are going to have to go into place for Deal? Yeah,
we'll have to assess the injuries and see what we can do and see what we can patch people up with. But it's obviously not ideal. But again, the Vars is more. I mean, look, I've been in later stages of the Vars, and it's a lovely distraction, but I was more interested in getting 3 points today than anything else. The league form for me is always paramount, bread and butter for me, and that's what I'll get judged on come the end of the season where we finish. So we'll address the injuries and whatever else, and hopefully patch a few up. And might have to ask a couple of favours from people to go through and play 60-70% fit. But the Vaz is more for the boys. You know, it's a really nice occasion for them. We've got a couple of cup tied, and a couple of that are going to be injured. So it's a chance for other people to come in and stake a claim in a really big game for the club. And I'm sure it's financially really beneficial for the football club over the course of the season to have that sort of day in game. But for me, I don't really see that as too much of a big game for me personally. But I imagine that all the boys will be really up for it, and it's a great opportunity. It's like the dream to play at Wembley, isn't it? But it's very unlikely. Deal will come into it. It's huge favourites, as I'm sure everyone's aware. And we'll just have to make sure that we're as well prepared as we possibly can be.
You must be happy not only with the win today, but with the momentum going into that Deal game. I don't think we've lost a league game since October. I may be wrong on that one, but several wins going into the Deal game. Will the momentum help us, especially at home?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you said, league form's hugely important, but obviously we've lost to Malmesbury in the Cup and Salisbury in the Cup. So I think that sort of league form does go out the window. Obviously the size of the competition, the Vaz, is massive for us in terms of comparing that to like the Floodlit Cup in the Wiltshire Cup, or, you know, that's no disrespect to the competitions, but I think boys will go into it with, you know, the desperation of wanting to get through, and then if you do get through, I think you're 3 games from Wembley, so, you know, it's a huge incentive for the boys to produce top gear, and everyone will want to play and be fit for it. But I won't just be thinking about the Deal game. You know, we'll have to make sure that it doesn't come at a huge cost to our league form. So as soon as the Deal game's out the way, it's back to business, and that is the most important thing for me, is league form.
And lastly, the club directors at Corsham have been trying to increase attendances at home this season, but I've noticed an increased following for us away. You must be happy to have such a big away following these days, especially all the way up to Hereford.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. I'm always thankful to come off and make sure that all the boys, you know, pay attention to that, home and away. And I think obviously when you are an improving side and you've got these big cup games coming up, obviously we had the cup final last year, first season at the Hellenic Prem level. This year we've been really good, only lost 2 league games all season, as you said, and have been unbeaten since October. It's always going to increase appetite of people coming to watch and wanting to get involved. So I know that the directors will say that if anyone's at a loose end on Saturday, want to come and see the biggest game in Corsham's history, come on down and hopefully you can pick up maybe 10 or 15 fans of that long term throughout the rest of the season then. So record attendances over the course of this season, they're all up on an average. So I think it's really exciting time to be a Corsham fan, and hopefully everyone enjoys the day out next week.